Oops. Okay, good morning. We're talking about a quick 10-minute session for campaign denude. I was supposed to do it last week. We're doing it this week. Denude, D-E-N-U-D-E. I want to know why we have created, and I posted the campaign on my Instagram yesterday, and I will repost it in the shorts here on YouTube as soon as I'm done going live. I want to know why there are more jobs available with nothing other than an ID that require you to be naked or, bending back your boundaries and, moral beliefs in order to make any money than there are opportunities to make money with clothes on at zero education levels. We are talking all of this shit. Pardon me for using that curse word. I've been doing really, really well with not cursing. This week's been rough. But for lack of a better word, everyone is talking all this shit about women and young men who are taking advantage of these opportunities online and in person, but mostly online, to sell photos of their bodies. Everyone talks shit about the OnlyFans girls and that entire culture. Why do we not have opportunities online to make an equal amount of money doing something else? Why do we still, and maybe that's the TikTok trend, maybe that's what TikTok is gearing up for, maybe that's the direction that they're heading in, but putting all of our eggs in one basket with just a TikTok platform, that's not going to be a win. We need to have this sort of campaigning here in the United States just as much as TikTok, which we all know from all of the weird Donald Trump rhetoric about Chinese terrorists coming through our TikTok and all of that. I don't know the validity. I'm not, a person who studies that sort of thing. I don't know the risks associated with it. And nor do I know the validity of that claim that has been made by our former president. What I do know is children who are aging out of high school are in such an impressionable stage of their life. If the parents from my generation are all on OnlyFans, what are the children going to do? And not the percent of people who are successful with OnlyFans is very, 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 very small. You hear about the success stories. You don't hear about the tens, hundreds, of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions even, I would feel confident to say, of accounts that are created and don't earn any money or don't earn enough money. And the ones that are successful understand that those have a lot of things going on in the background that you don't know about to be successful, or they're a mirage of success. Many of them don't even really have any money, and they just appear to be earning income. So for the campaign denude, I wanted to focus on finding a way to take that message that we are pushing our youth in a direction that if we don't pump the brakes on soon, will be forever, changing the world and inescapable. And by soon, I mean immediately. I have noticed urgency with this topic for about 10 years now. And I haven't really been able to discuss it because I was not well educated. Over the last 5 years, I've spent my time reflecting and learning from what I firsthand experienced. And it needs to be stopped. And the only way to stop it is to stop the need. When people are, operating their lives from a place of lack, they don't have enough, they are susceptible to be taken advantage of. If they need something and they can't get it on their own and they don't have, opportunity to earn income any other way, this way is being dangled in front of their faces, that's what they're going to do. And so the only answer, as I've said a million times, is a universal basic income. I don't think it's far-fetched. A lot of people have been in my comments talking about how it's far left thinking and it's radical thinking. I don't think there's anything radical about it. And I'm not talking about babe, what is that thing that Cuba has?
Sanctions?
No, it starts with a C.
Communism?
I'm not talking about communism. I'm not saying we all have the same house, we all earn the same money, we all this, we all that. I'm saying at a very basic beginning, we all have enough to buy food, have a roof over our head that is nice, that's not packed on with other people. Let's look at the projects. Okay. The projects are a place where, the projects are a place where you find a lot of drugs, a lot of crime, a lot of sex, a lot of abuse. You also find a lot of families wrapped up in that. So why aren't we creating living spaces that are not compacted on top of each other, so that if a family or a single person does not want to be the fifth of five, they can live independently of that type of behavior? If we're going to have buildings where we offer universal basic shelters, then they have to be able to filter out the people who are not willing to conform to the societal expectation, which is sobriety, and not provocative, promiscuous, non-promiscuous sexual behavior. We're living in a Tinder era. Everyone is text messaging each other that they met 3 minutes ago to schedule a hookup for an hour from now. Disgusting. It's disgusting. Shaking hands is not the same as doing sex. And the pushback on desensitizing, ourselves and each other, supported by social media, supported by music videos, supported by stripper, themes. It's our own fault. We left a group of people, a demographic of people, in situations and environments that do not support earning money. People who never had access to education, people who never had access to money, people who were at a disadvantage from the beginning, and then we gave them the only option of showing their bodies and exploiting themselves to earn income. What kind of a decent human being is there? I mean, there is not a single decent human being who thinks that it's acceptable to offer the only form of self-independent financial stability, self-exploitation. It's just not, I don't know if I just described that right. This is not a script. This is a think tank, and this is all coming from the top of my head. But there is no person who has a moral compass who thinks that the only way a person should be able to support themselves is by becoming a stripper. And I'm not against strippers. I get it. Okay, I've been there. I get it. 100% I get it. What I'm saying is I'm actually very pro for the strippers, for the, people who don't have opportunity. Why do they not have other opportunities? Having one child, is and then working a minimum wage job, it doesn't work. You have to then rely on the government for daycare. You have to then rely on the government for housing and TANF and LINK. So if you want to get independent of these government programs, you have these people find themselves having little choice. And so they are pushed into these areas. And then once you do it enough, it no longer feels like you're pushing back your boundaries, but it turns almost predatory. And there's a spectrum. You have your person who just gets into stripping and maybe did not have a cultural influence saying stripping is okay. And then you have a person who has a cultural influence who says stripping is good. It's the way to go. Get it, girl. Right? There are two different starting points. The person who grew up in an environment where it was not okay, they're going to be, back here. When we talk about reeling it in, they're going to be more sensitized, more, on the fence about doing it. The one who thinks it's okay, they're going to do it, but they're going to end up way back here. And what I mean by that is, well, the person who thought it was bad to begin with will probably end right here. The person who thought it was okay to begin with will end right here. And a lot of those people end in a lot of various ways. I'm sure that there are probably a few people who get out of it okay, but for the most part, we're looking at groups of men and women who team up and begin extorting, exploiting, robbing, drugging, stealing, beating, etc., and so forth. Because you get to a certain point in this exploitative imbalance where you start standing up for yourself. Let's call it what it is. It's abuse. Shake your ass in my face and I'll give you this $1. Here you go. That is abuse. That is exploitation. And we have these women and men so brainwashed by the payoff of $1 that they mentally, in order to survive, in order to keep themselves getting up in the morning and going to engage in this abuse, they mind fuck themselves to make it okay. It's not okay. No one should have to do that. No one. Everyone should have enough money to meet their needs and the needs of their children and the needs of their family members without doing those sorts of things. And then we sit here and judge those women, and we call those women loose, or men, and we say that they want it when they get sexually assaulted and they asked for it and all of these things. They most certainly did not ask for it. this culture has been, the blueprints for this culture have been being laid down for generations and generations before ours. And now it's my generation and our children's generations who are going to pay the price for it. So everyone needs to really please get involved in coming up with and brainstorming and think sessioning, a bunch of ways to communicate these messages and solutions. We can have, there are content creators who create content who support these missions. And then there are also people who are not online, who are not showing their face, who are sitting at home, who are tech savvy, who are, political candidates, who are take your pick, and they need to be working on resolution and solutions to all of these problems that have been created. If someone is unwilling to open their mind to these topics, they need to go, period, plain and simple. Maybe walking around outside will help them, for several months, like they forced us to do. I was never sexually exploited by choice. I was sexually exploited because I had none. I was operating from a place of lack and someone saw opportunity. This woman has none. I want to help her get some so she can help me get some. All it's going to take is a little finessing. And that person was intelligent. But what did they use their intelligence for? And I'm not unique. There are a lot of women like me who 100% started out very prude, never wanted anything to do with that lifestyle. And because of necessity, more than we even know, more than we'll ever admit, because of necessity, have been forced, for a lack of a better word, extorted, coerced by lack. So if lack is the common theme, poverty is the common theme, there is only one answer. And that's to solve poverty. We have to solve poverty. So Operation and Campaign Denude, I'm going to post it here in the shorts after I'm done with this. It's not about, being, it's not about not wearing a bathing suit to the beach, right? Let's put it that way. It's about not feeling exploited, pressured, or forced to be a part of any sort of sexual behavior that you don't feel comfortable with, including but not limited to photos, videos, private engagements, you name it, as a result of living in poverty.